opportunity. About 2 months ago, I was sitting around the table with 11 other women, and we were celebrating a birthday, a monumental birthday of one of our friends who was turning 70. And as we demolished this absolutely delicious homemade strawberry shortcake, loaded with whipped cream and fresh strawberries made by our hostess, Jean, one of the women piped up and said, "Hey, let's go around the table and tell our ages."
You got no pie, right?
And I thought, okay, well, I'm probably the oldest one of the oldest ones here, if not the oldest one, at 77. So I was shocked at the results of this survey, because not only did the women share their age, but they shared their age with pride and enthusiasm. And, just like they were really delighted to be able to tell how old they were. My thought was that they were somewhere between 65 and early 70s. And that was fairly true as we went around. The woman next to me said, "I'm 77, born in 45. And I said, "Hey, I am too." So we high-fived each other for looking pretty good for old ladies, Anyway, the results were that people were around 65 to early 70s, except one person. One person. Our host is Jean. You want to take a guess of how old she was? 83. She was 83, and I was stunned because this woman didn't look anywhere near 83. Now, I've known these women for about 20 years in Santa Barbara. We've all been a part of this conscious community. Now, this aging conversation is not new for me. I've been told for many, many years that I don't look my age, and I know I don't. But there's a reason for that. And actually, there are 3 reasons that I'm going to give you today. And the first 2 are pretty much no-brainers. The first 2 are pretty obvious. But the third one is my longevity secret with the special sauce. How many of you'd like to hear about my longevity secret with the special sauce? Yeah, quite a few of you. So, number 1, how is this mic? Is it okay? You hearing me okay? Okay, good. Number 1, pretty obvious, diet. Diet is so important. What we eat is very critical to how our bodies show up, to our health. So diet is a pretty obvious reason why we can maintain our usefulness. But diet is, we have to find a diet that serves us personally. It's important to do our research and to have the experience of the food that we eat to know that what is going to really serve us in our health. So for me, I'm Italian and I love to eat. And I was weaned on pasta and tomato sauce. So unfortunately, I don't eat that much anymore. And I do miss it. But there's a good reason, because I do a Mediterranean diet, chicken and fish and vegetables and like that. And I try to stay away from what my son calls the no diet. No caffeine, no dairy, no sugar, no gluten, no alcohol, no fun.
Who wants to live long with no diet?
I know. Yes, well, and absolutely no fast foods. Once in a while, I have to cheat and have some wonderful French fries with some dipping sauce. But pretty much, I try to keep my diet very clean. But everyone has to find their own niche. They have to find what serves them and what they eat. You've heard the expression, we are what we eat. The second one, the second tip, the second reason is obvious also, exercise. We have to move our bodies. We have to get up every day and move around. We need to walk and do exercise that we're going to enjoy doing. I have a little trampoline and I have an exercise bike and I do yoga. And I've been doing yoga for about 50 years, long time. And yoga is probably one of the most important things that we can do for our body. How many people do yoga in here? Yeah, quite a few of you. And you know what? Even if you're older and you've never done yoga, do it because it really gives us flexibility. It gives us strength. And as we get older, it's really important that we maintain that. Last year, I had a complete shoulder replacement. Pretty good, huh? I have a titanium shoulder here. And I've got back stuff going on, and I've got left hip stuff going on. It's not that I don't have not illnesses, but I don't have situations that challenge my health, but I really maintain a positive thought about it. I try to keep my thoughts as focused on being pain-free in my life. Okay, are you ready for number 3? Yes? May I have a drum roll, please? Okay, good, thank you. Number 3, mindset. Mindset. You know, I'm not here today to talk about diet and exercise. I'm here to talk to you today about mindset. What is mindset? Mindset is how your mind is set. When you make up your mind about something and you go for it, do you achieve it? Rotarians, this is what you do. You know, you choose you choose your project and you choose where you want to be putting your energy, and you have a mindset and you go for it and you do it. So mindset is how we set our mind. And in my research, I came across a wonderful definition that I want to share with you. This is actually a longevity coach. His name is Dan Sullivan. And he says that a longevity mindset is one where you decide and wholeheartedly believe that longevity is normal and attainable. With a longevity mindset, aging is abnormal and longevity is what's considered healthy. This mindset permanently benefits the way we live, think, and act. In fact, people with a positive mindset about aging live an average of 7.5 years longer than those without. Well, 7.5 years may not seem like a long time, but if you're in your 80s or your 90s or even 100, 7.5 years is a long time. It's really an opportunity for us to see the changes in the world, the technologies, see our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren grow. So mindset is about everything in life. We can have a mindset about relationships. We can have a mindset about finances. We can have a mindset about whatever it is that we're desiring to create in our lives. I want to share today about a few scientists that have been my heroes. Spirituality and science was really the topic of my television show, which was called The Paradigm Shift. Excuse me. The first scientist I want to tell you about is Dr. Bruce Lipton. Has anyone heard of Dr. Bruce Lipton? A few of you, okay. He's a cellular biologist, and he's also into quantum mechanics or quantum physics. And he was a dyed-in-the-wool professor at the University of Wisconsin. And as a cellular biologist, he did a lot of experimentation. He was doing stem cell research way back before people even knew what stem cell research was. Well, he discovered something pretty amazing that changed his life. In fact, he ended up leaving the university because he couldn't teach what he was told to teach anymore. He discovered that our cells in our body are not informed by our genetics. Our cells in our body are not informed by our genetics. So our genetics, he said, are the blueprint of all the possible ways we can show up in our physicality. Right? Why we look like our ancestors, why we look like our parents. You know? He says that our cells are informed by anyone?
Mindset.
Thoughts. Our cells are informed by our thoughts. Right, good. So our cells are informed by what we think. I'll give you an example of that. A man goes to the doctor and the doctor says to him, well, I'm sorry, Mr. Smith, your cancer is really quite serious and you have about 6 months to live. Now that person can accept that and believe that it's true because the doctor told him that and prepare to pass away. He's essentially programming his cells to agree with the doctor. And in 6 months, this person does pass away. Another person comes and the doctor tells him the same thing. But he says, no way, I've got too much life to live. I am not going to be passing away. I'm not going to be dying in 6 months. And that person doesn't. We've heard of medical anomalies all the time. How many of you heard of stories of people that heal 100%? Anyone? Yes, there's more and more of that is happening. And these medical anomalies are brushed under the rug because they don't know how to explain. They don't know how to explain that it happens. I'll tell you a story. I interviewed a doctor by the name of Dr. Forgive me, I can't think of his name right now.
You're only 77.
That's right, that's right. Anyway, this particular doctor was the head of Dallas City Medical Hospital, and he was a surgeon and had experiences in the hospital where there were these medical anomalies that happened that couldn't be explained and they were just brushed under the rug, and he didn't think anything of them until he had this one patient who had lung cancer that had metastasized to the rest of his body. And he said there was nothing he could do. This was like in the 60s, I believe, so there really wasn't the research done by then for for all the different cures for cancer. So he just dismissed him. And when he came into the room, he would come in to visit him. He would find his family, his church members on the floor praying like crazy for him. And he would have like a condescending attitude toward it. This isn't going to do anything. Well, he dismissed him and he just assumed he died. And then the following year, one of his colleagues said, hey, Larry Dawsey is his name. Larry, there's your old patient down the hall with a bad case of the flu. And he goes, what? He said, he could have told me he just rose from the dead. I went to see him, and there he was, the same fellow. Took his x-rays, his lungs were completely clear, his body was clear of cancer. And that was when this really got his attention. He ended up actually leaving practicing medicine, and he wrote the first book on the power of prayer and healing. So what is a prayer? A prayer is a thought. It's a positive thought. It's a positive thought directed toward someone or something. That makes a difference. How many of you heard healers who heal people from 2,000 miles away are able to do it with their mind? It happens. It happens.
You know what?
You know what? I am so nervous today, and I do not know why I'm nervous today, because I love to speak, and I love to speak about consciousness. I love to speak about the power of our thinking. We are creators of our reality. How many of you people think that you create your reality? Let me see a show of hands. Almost all of you. All right, so how do we create our reality? With what? How do we create our reality?
Mindset.
With our thoughts and our feelings and our words. That's how we create our reality. We're creating our reality all the time. If you don't think you create your reality, are you creating it? Yes. And a lot of times, what happens is we're victims of our own negative thinking. How many of you have negative thinking about aging? Some of you. Okay. All right. When we change our mindset, when we change our mind about aging, and not get influenced by all of the different commercials in the pharmaceutical industry. My goodness, if you're a baby boomer, you should be on a million different things. So we don't need it. Dr. Deepak Chopra, how many of you know about him? Dr. Deepak Chopra, right? He says that our body is like a pharmacy. It's our own personal pharmacy. And we make everything in our body that we need to sustain ourselves. And we don't need the amount of pharmaceuticals that we've been ingesting. So how can we activate those chemicals in our body for health? Through our mindset. Now, I want to tell you about another scientist. His name is Dr. Joe Dispenza. How many of you heard about Joe Dispenza? Quite a few of you. He's an amazing fellow, and his story is just phenomenal. When he was a young man, he was a chiropractor, and he just recently started in his practice. But he was also of the belief system that the body can heal, that we can heal our bodies through intention. He was running in a race, and he got clipped by an SUV that dragged him several yards. He was told that he would be a paraplegic, he would never walk again. And he just did not accept it. He didn't. This is a true story and documented. And he made up his mind that he was going to heal his body. And 2 weeks later, he walked out of the hospital. True story. Now, since then, that was like maybe 30 years ago. Now he travels all over the world doing seminars and workshops and helping people to heal themselves with their thoughts, their feelings, and their words through their intention. And he has amazing stories documented. Since then, during this period of time, his postgraduate work is in neuroscience and neuroplasticity and body-mind medicine and heart-brain coherence. So he's really on the cutting edge of the possibilities of what we can do in healing our bodies. So what does this all mean? What is the takeaway here today? The takeaway is that we need to pay attention to our thinking. A positive thought vibrates at a high frequency. A negative thought vibrates at a low frequency. Where we want to be vibrating is at a high frequency in our lives. So pay attention. Pay attention to when you have a negative thought. You have the power to change it just by making another choice. So I'll close today with a quote from Dr. Joe. Dr. Joe says, there's cause and effect, and there's causing effect. Where do you stand in that question? Thank you. Speaking of, are there any questions? Yes.
But as one Connecticut-born Italian with high vibrations to another, I might ask you if you know somebody who has had terrible news, and you want to bring across the message that you just talked about, and you're not in the room to say, here, listen to this woman because she knows what she's talking about. Is there some suggestion that you have as to how to start that conversation and what it should be like?
Could you repeat the question for the people on Zoom?
Yes, would you repeat the question, please?
You-
I mean, no, you.
Oh, well, I want to be clear on what the question is. So would you repeat it?
Okay, so I need to repeat it.
Yeah.
I'll repeat it as you do.
Okay.
Connecticut Italian.
High vibration.
I'm still in possible. So how do you take the things that you were talking about if you're in the company of somebody who has just had bad news on the medical front and bring the ideas that you're talking about to them? How do you start that conversation and what that conversation is?
All right, so you want me to repeat the question?
The
Okay.
remote people have heard it. Okay.
Yes.
You're okay.
Okay, all right. Okay, well, I would say that how you think about that person is critically important to the person's health. And if you think about them with fear that they're going to pass away or they're going to get worse or whatever the situation would be, then you're actually causing that to happen. You're actually contributing to that. You're not helping. So the whole idea about energy, everything is energy. Everything's energy vibrating at a frequency that determines its density. Positive thoughts vibrate at a high frequency. Negative thoughts vibrate at a low frequency. So what I would say is, think of the person healed and whole. See them in your mind's eye as healed and whole in their lives. And even though the prognosis or whatever the situation would be is, negative, it doesn't mean that it has to be that way. Now, one person projecting a positive thought or healing vibes to another person, however, wherever they are, is actually affecting their field. So if you have a group of people coming together, and we see this all the time in healing groups that are coming together in church groups and organizations, different organizations, it's very effective. It's very effective. So helping that person to shift their thinking. Here's a quote that I love. Imagination allows us to be there before we get there. Imagination allows us to be there before we get there. So what does that mean? This is psycho-cybernetics. Has anyone ever heard of psycho-cybernetics? Right. It says that the brain cannot distinguish between thinking about something, imagining something, and experiencing it. This has actually been proven to be true. So if you imagine something, if this person imagined their friend being healed and whole, then they're actually causing that to occur, and it's making a huge difference in that person's life. Is that helpful? Any other questions? Yes.
Yeah. So do you have any tips to shift your mindset when you're in a negative mindset?
Do I have any tips to what?
How to translate when you're in a negative mind space and to get into a more positive mindset? Like sometimes I feel like that's where I want to go, but I'm having trouble getting there.
Okay, I understand. We get triggered by negative thoughts. And when we get triggered by negative thoughts, usually we go right down that rabbit hole of fear, doubt, worry, concern, whatever it is. How many people have had that experience? And if it's a recurring negative thought, something that you have often, then you're really stuck. So what I do when I have a negative thought about anything, what I do is I say, stop. I am not going down that negative rabbit hole. I'm not going down there. I'm just choosing to make another choice in the moment. Like, right now, I'm going to be totally transparent with you. I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed. Part of me wants to go right down that rabbit hole of being disappointed in my speaking today. This is really being authentic and transparent. However, in this very moment, I'm going to make the choice to do an excellent job to the best of my ability. And also to trust the process that everything happens for a reason. I'm a spiritual mentor. So believe me, I'll be doing a lot of processing about the speech today because I'm so disappointed in not being able to make that connection. I don't know exactly why it is that, today that I'm dealing with that, but I am. So any ideas? Yes, go ahead.
Say stop.
What?
Say stop.
Yes, I did. Say stop.
Concentrate on all the smiles around you right now.
Oh, this has been an opportunity for me to really be present to how I allowed my own fear to interfere in what I wanted to share with you today. So I'm not quite sure exactly what landed, but I do want to say this. We are creating our reality all the time. Whether you know it or not, or like it or not, guess what? It is happening. So pay attention to what you're thinking. And when you have a negative thought, say, stop. I'm not going down that rabbit hole. I'm going to choose this thought to move me forward. And you know what? A positive thought is a high vibration. Negative thought is a low vibration. So if you were getting hooked by a negative thought, you can just simply observe it and stop. And I say simply, it's not so simple. Becoming the observer means you pay attention to what you're thinking. Becoming the observer means you pay attention to what you're thinking. So you have a negative thought, you observe it, and then you make another decision. And that decision is, I'm going here, is my thinking. You know, because I know that going in a positive direction is going to result in that happening. Do you know how we manifest? I don't know how much time I have, but how are we doing on time?
Just a couple minutes.
A couple of minutes. Okay, I'll just share with you quickly what Deepak Chopra says about manifestation. He says that in this quantum field, the universe, yes, the universe is called the field, right? There are an infinite number of subatomic particles. Subatomic particles are fluctuations of energy and information in the field of all possibility. So when we have a thought, we're focused on achieving this success with the auction or whatever would happen to be, then what we're doing is we're observing the subatomic particles around that situation. And when there's impeccable focus on it, the wave of the particle collapses into a particle of matter. The wave of the subatomic particle collapses into a particle of matter. So we are creating our reality all the time. And it's very important that we pay attention to what we're thinking so that we can change the thought and move it in another direction. Is that helpful? I don't want to get too scientific about you. I'm interested in quantum physics because quantum physics is now really showing that spirituality is a real deal, that consciousness is a real deal, because everything is energy. Everything is energy. Any other questions?
Well, I have two questions, but I guess it's time to go in it.
Yes,
Later.
I know Patricia could stay around for a few minutes after the meeting. I know people have to get to work and everything.
I want to thank you so much. And I want to say, I want to give a round of applause here, but I want to say, we've heard this one particular phrase, probably as long as I can remember, and that's, and I want to thank you for reminding me about that and reminding us the power of positive thinking. We all know that the power of positive thinking in our lives can make a lot of changes for us, and in healing or just, what we achieve, how we love, all those things. I want to thank you so much, Patricia, for coming this morning. As a thank you, we will be giving 30 dictionaries to third graders in Santa Barbara. We do provide the third graders of Santa Barbara School District every year with a dictionary, and 30 dictionaries will have your name in them. So thank you so much. I want to wish everybody a very happy raffle. Yes, we'll take it over here. And
I think we should all positively think about her number.
Yes, okay, all right. So what's the range there?
Okay, we have from number 1 to
Number 1 to
72.
72.
I'm gonna ask our new Paul Harris Fellow person to choose one number from 1 to 72. 33.
33.
3.
Good number.
Who is 31, 32, 33? Sandra.
Sandra O'Meara, congratulations. What a raffle day. I want to thank everybody so much. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Next week, I'll be thinking of all of you, and we'll look forward to seeing you in December. I can't believe I'm saying that, but look forward to seeing you November 30th for a happy hour, and then in December. And please sign up for the holiday party. We do need everybody's RSVP by December 2nd. So please sign up. Take care, everybody. Our meeting is now adjourned.